Good morning, beautiful souls. Heather here. How are you doing today? I want to ask you a question and see if you relate to this. If this resonates with you, leave a comment, say me, raise your hand, say, yeah, that I can relate to that. So have you ever hit rock bottom? Have you ever hit that place where you're just like, I don't know if I can keep doing this. I don't know if things could possibly get any worse than this. Are you in that kind of a place right now? I want to share with you 4 years ago when I hit rock bottom. I had gone through cancer treatment at the age of 29 while pregnant with our sixth baby. I had doctors look me in the eyes and tell me, Heather, if you don't abort your baby, you're risking your life. It's not going to end well for you. You're not going to make it. Well, I proved them wrong. And here I was with this beautiful new baby, but still in the fight for my life. I had to go through chemotherapy and radiation. In the process, my husband and I, we lost our home. We lost our business. We moved up to his parents' land. And we moved into a camper trailer with our 6 children, living in a camper trailer. I'd never felt so humiliated in my life. And I hit this point where I felt like I had lost my health, I lost our home, I lost our business, I lost my friends, I lost my support, and now my husband was turning to his family for emotional support, and I felt like I was losing my marriage. And I remember one night I was cooking spaghetti in our camper trailer, our 6 children around me, and I remember tears just pouring down my face as I'm making this spaghetti, and I'm watching as the tears are falling into the spaghetti. I don't know if I even served it. If I did, I guess we survived. And I just remember thinking, I can't do this anymore. If I lose my marriage, if I lose my husband, I have nothing left. I've already lost everything. And I remember going to him and telling him, Ben, I just need to leave. I can't do this anymore. And it was the first time that either of us had ever said those words. He asked me not to go, and he stood in the camper trailer with tears falling down his face as I got in our Suburban, and I drove away. I left him there, crying with our 6 kids. You want to know how far I made it? 3.2 miles. That was the first time I'd ever left. That was the only time I've ever left. And I watched that mile counter, 0.10 of a mile, 0.2 of a mile, 0.3 of a mile. And again, the tears are just streaming down my face. And I am asking myself, what am I doing? It got to the point where I couldn't see anymore. So I pulled over 3.2 miles. And I'm in a beautiful, incredible sunflower field. And the sunflowers are just beautiful and golden and bright. And it was such a contrast to the darkness that I felt inside myself. And in that moment, I asked myself, Heather, is there another way of looking at this? I realized in that moment that if I left this marriage, if I left him, that darkness that was in me, it would stay with me no matter where I went and with whomever I went with. Because that story that I wasn't good enough was what was creating that chaos in my life, was creating that pain. And I realized in that moment that limiting belief was creating all of that circumstance. So can you relate to that? What is the limiting story that is holding you back, that is holding you in pain? When you can release that story, that is when you can find healing and ultimate happiness in your life. So, my dear friends, that was my story. And that story that I wasn't good enough, that I didn't deserve love, it blinded me to reality. I created a false story of Ben. I created a story that he was abandoning me, that he was this emotional support that he was seeking from his family must mean that I'm not good enough, that I'm not worth it. And as I created this story that he was abandoning me, it created absolute chaos and it nearly destroyed our marriage. Again, my story of myself, it blinded me to reality that I am worthy of love, that I deserve love, that I am good enough just as I am. So I went on a journey. I went on a journey over the next 2 years to remove that limiting belief, to change that internal story. It was ugly. It was imperfect. I made a lot of mistakes, and honestly, I had a lot of setbacks. But my desire to succeed was greater than my setbacks or my fears. I knew I had to keep going because I knew what that darkness felt like. I knew what that contrast felt like, and I knew I could never go back there again because life's too short to live like that. So I spent hundreds of thousands of hours. I literally became obsessed with understanding myself, right? I would read books. I would get audiobooks. I would listen to them in the car. I would listen to podcasts, YouTube videos, paid videos, courses. And I began earnestly seeking to better understand myself and better understand, why do I feel this way? And as I did that, I learned more and more how that story that I'm not good enough, I don't deserve love, had affected me and affected our marriage for years because I subconsciously distanced myself from my husband, Ben. I subconsciously pushed away the very thing that I wanted the most because I was so afraid. And I could see how over the years, while I loved him deeply and I cared for him deeply, I never fully trusted him. I never fully allowed myself to be vulnerable with him. And so I became obsessed, like I said, studying and just so eager and hungry to learn why I felt this way and what could I even do about it, right? And so then I started investing. I literally have invested tens of thousands of dollars into coaching and mentors. I realized that the books, the YouTube videos, all of those things gave me some insights, but I wanted to know from people who had actually gone through it themselves. I wanted to find people who had been through similar things that I had been through, and I could learn from their experience. I could do what they did, so now I could have what they have. And I finally got to the place now where that limiting belief no longer rules me. And I truly am the creator of my life. As I changed that internal story, the external results started to change as well. And as I live true to who I really, really am, the people, relationships, and circumstances that are congruent with that truth, they naturally come to me. It's like a magnet. It just is drawn right to me. And now I've distilled down those hundreds of thousands of hours of learning, those thousands of hours I've invested into coaching and understanding this, and the seeking process that I went through down into a very simple method. I took the very best of it all and I put it together in a very simple method so that it no longer takes me years to change those internal stories. It takes just a matter of a few days or a few weeks. There is work that needs to be done because we're literally reprogramming the brain, but it can happen very, very quickly now. And I'm able to help others do exactly the same. Just last night, I was working with a client in our group coaching session. He was feeling very stuck and very frustrated. He, like you, maybe you can relate to this, but made many positive changes in his marriage in the past couple months, but he still felt the pull to go back to his old ways. And he still felt like all those changes that he made, they weren't really hitting home with his wife yet, right? So his wife had an affair and he felt like he was doing all the work and that she needed to be punished for what she did. But his inner being, he wanted to be with her. He wanted a happy marriage with her. So it was like this tug and pull back and forth between him, inside of himself, right? I really want this, but then at the same time, I'm not sure because she's hurt me so deeply. I feel like she should be punished. Maybe I don't really want to be with her after all. So it's kind of like this teeter-totter effect, this push and pull inside of himself. And what we did was that we uncovered the limiting belief he had, that he needed to control things in order to feel secure. We realized that this limiting belief had developed early in his childhood with his mother not being very present in his life, and it became a self-defense mechanism. Needing to control things served him in that it protected him from pain and gave him a sense of security. But he could also see how this desire to control was exactly what pushed his wife away and was a big reason why she was led to have an affair. That awareness is powerful. Now he was able to get on the path to release that limiting belief and work to condition the true story of himself. And that true story is that security is found within him, regardless of the circumstances. As he shifts to allowing this truth to be his dominant state, his dominant habitual thoughts, his dominant belief, he will shift the way that he interacts with his wife and others. And that will start to transform everything for him in his life. Tomorrow, I'm going to tell you the tale of 3 marriages and show you exactly how this plays out in greater detail and what 95% of people are doing that will push their spouse away forever. Why 95% of people will never get their spouse back. So that's tomorrow. Let's go a little bit deeper into you and how you can apply this right now. So with this method, people don't need to waste years and tens of thousands of dollars like I did to get there. Like I said, it can happen in just a few weeks. Would you rather spend years and waste tens of thousands of dollars? Or would you rather have it happen in a few weeks, right? So that you can live in peace the rest of your life, knowing that you live from a place of inner peace and happiness, right? Just like our clients are able to do. And that, my friend, is worth everything. Did you need to hear that? Did you need to hear that today? Is that going to change things for you from now on? So I want you to ask yourself, what is the story that is holding me back and keeping me in pain? What is that story? What is the story that is holding me back and keeping me in pain? Ask yourself. That's again what I just said. What is the story holding me back and keeping me in pain? I guess I duplicated my slide. There's my imperfection. It's okay. It's all about unconditional love. All right. And then ask yourself, would I like to continue living that story year after year? Or am I ready to let it go so I can have what I really want? If you're answering yes, then awesome. I want you to know that Mark and I are just about to launch our new live path course. It is going to show you exactly how to get there. It's going to be fabulous. So sink into this for a minute with me. I want you to imagine how your life could look like with absolute unconditional love for yourself, even if you duplicate your slides. But truly living with inner peace. What would inner peace look like for you? How would you go to sleep at night? How would you wake up in the morning? How would your interactions be? How would you feel at work? How would you feel with your spouse? Having calm and happiness, regardless of what happens or what anyone else does. Knowing that you have released those limiting beliefs that have kept you in pain for so long and subconsciously sabotaged yourself from having what you really want. And so that you can see the relationship you really want come to you easily and naturally as you've become the person you really want to be. Just like you, I tried everything to reconnect with my husband, and I was about to quit until I discovered this one thing that changed everything for me. So keep your eye out on the course and the program that will help you get you there. And tomorrow I'm going to share with you why 95% of people won't get their spouse back, so you can avoid making the same mistake that they did. Remember, my friend, life is short. Time is precious. So make the most of it now.